Welcome to the Edge of Tech, CTech's AI-generated studio, where we dive deep into the latest news and analyses on technology and innovation. Today, we'll explore how Andreessen Horowitz is shaking up the tech world with a massive $7.2 billion fund. Then we'll look into the potential acquisition of Lacework by cyber decacorn Wiz, a deal that could be worth $150–200 million. And lastly, we'll discuss the Israel Innovation Authority's ambitious new fund, aiming to catalyze $700 million in Israeli VC investments. Stay tuned for these stories and more, coming up next on the Edge of Tech. I am Elihai Vidal, generated with AI. Joining us to discuss the significance of the news are Ariella Carmel and other guests, all generated with AI. Here we go. In the world of venture capital, a major player is making waves. Andreessen Horowitz, one of the most active VCs, has raised a significant $7.2 billion fund. Ariella, this is big news. Can you tell us more about Andreessen Horowitz and what they're up to?
Absolutely, Elihai. Andreessen Horowitz, also known as A16Z, is a prominent investment firm focusing on technology startups. Their new fund will target established startups, artificial intelligence, and gaming.
Now, $7.2 billion is a substantial amount. But Andreessen Horowitz has already been a major player in the VC world for years. So what's the main scoop here?
Well, the fundraising success of Andreessen Horowitz contrasts sharply with other major funds struggling to meet their goals. For example, Tiger Global only raised $2.2 billion, a third of its target. Insight Partners reported raising $1.3 billion compared to a target of $2 billion.
Interesting. Andreessen Horowitz has a track record of identifying and investing in promising trends. How does the company plan to address the current challenges in the tech market with this new fund?
The fund will be divided into several parts, with a focus on growth stage startups, AI infrastructure and applications, and gaming companies. They also plan to invest in sectors like aviation, space, defense, and manufacturing that serve the American national interest.
Right. Looking ahead, Andreessen Horowitz's move could have far-reaching implications for the tech industry. How do you think this fundraising will impact the startup ecosystem and the way investors approach tech investments?
This fundraising represents more than just financial success. It's a statement about the direction of the market. Despite the recent slowdown, Andreessen Horowitz is betting big on growth, which could signal a shift towards larger, more ambitious startups.
Thank you for these insights, Ariella. Coming up next, cyber decacorn Wiz is in advanced negotiations to acquire Lacework for $150–200 million. Stay tuned for more on this developing story. Cybersecurity decacorn Wiz is in advanced negotiations to acquire Lacework for $150–200 million. Lacework, a veteran company in cloud security, was valued at $8.3 billion in 2021. Ariella, can you provide more details about this acquisition?
Elihai, this acquisition signifies the ongoing consolidation in the security industry. Lacework's strong position in cloud security makes it a valuable asset for Wiz.
The companies have signed a letter of intent and are in the due diligence process. What can you tell us about the transaction?
Well, if completed, the transaction is valued at approximately $150–200 million, with Lacework's $800 million in cash reserves to be distributed among the company's investors.
And how does this fit into Wiz's overall strategy?
This acquisition aligns with Wiz's strategy of growth through acquisitions. Wiz and Lacework have non-overlapping customer bases. So the assumption is that Lacework's 600 customers today will become Wiz customers.
Interesting. What other acquisitions has Wiz made recently, and how do they contribute to their growth plans?
Wiz recently completed the purchase of Israeli startup Gem Security, following the acquisition of Israeli startup Raft in December to expand their cloud security offerings. It's also important to note that Wiz is aiming for $1 billion in revenue and eyeing a potential IPO.
Thank you, Ariella. It will be interesting to see how this acquisition unfolds. Coming up next, the Israel Innovation Authority is rolling out a new fund aimed at spurring a $700 million investment in Israeli VCs. Stay tuned for the details. Lastly, the Israel Innovation Authority has launched a new fund aimed at catalyzing 700 million in investments in Israeli venture capital firms. Ariella, this initiative is a significant step for Israeli high-tech. Can you shed some light on its importance?
Elihai, this initiative will boost institutional investments in Israeli high-tech. It's a strategy to direct state funds toward venture capital funds supporting Israeli companies.
So, how exactly does this program work, and what does it mean for the local venture capital market?
Well, the program will encourage institutional investors like insurance and pension funds to invest in Israeli VCs, aiming to stabilize the local market against global economic fluctuations. It involves a $160 million state budget to leverage $700 million in investments.
I see. And how does the Israel Innovation Authority plan to attract these institutional investors?
They're offering a 30-cent contribution for every dollar invested by institutions, along with waiving their share of returns from these investments, all to enhance returns for the institutions involved.
That's quite an incentive. Are there any other important aspects of this program?
Yes, institutional entities have the option to buy out the Israel Innovation Authority's stake in the fund under certain conditions, and there are additional incentives for funds supporting deep technology companies.
Thank you, Ariella, for shedding light on this initiative. That concludes today's edition of The Edge of Tech, CTech's AI-generated studio. Thanks for tuning in. For more high-tech news, in-depth analysis, and exclusive interviews, head over to CTech website, your gateway to Israeli tech.